Hello and welcome back to the Voiro podcast, season 6, episode 2. And it's been a few weeks.
Yeah,
interesting stuff happening.
Yeah. It's been a bit since we recorded our last episode, and lots has happened at Voiro since then. And like I was telling you last time as well, that I think I'm going to do a TED talk on it sometime in my life.
Yes, I'll definitely sign up for it. I'd definitely do that.
Yeah.
But more to the fact we were at AdTech, you guys went. How was it? You've both been there before, and how was it this time?
My second, I think.
Kavita's
my
second
too.
So.
Yeah.
Again, this is a different venue this time, though. I think both of us have been to Lena before, once before then, and then this one was Yashobhumi, where the G2 summit was.
G20, yeah.
G20.
Where G2?
G2, yeah. Sorry. I keep getting confused. They even told me.
I know.
He corrected me twice already at that event.
Correct.
So
this Yashobhumi place is in Dwarka, and apparently Dwarka is not very well populated. It's a newer part of Delhi. There are only farmhouses close by, so we stayed in a resort.
This is where you have the chill pinned.
Yes, this is where the and I've added new songs to my chill pin playlist. So if anybody wants to peruse, we've decided that you should have 2 Punjabi words in the song, and it has had this like drivey feel in the song, so for it to make it to the playlist. Anyway, so this time's AdTech was larger than life.
Yeah.
It was, the space that it was in was huge. The grounds in itself were imposing. But the thing about having an event like this in a space like that is that it dwarfs the event in itself, right? In the night, it was really pretty because they had all the branding out on the screens outside. So the entire building lights up. So you had Samsung and AdTech and everybody, and like Magnite, and everybody's logos all flashing on this huge, larger-than-life screen that was up in the air. But it was on 3 floors. There were workshops on the lowest, which was the 3rd floor, and then or 4th floor, or whatever. And then there was a registration on the 4th, and then the 5th floor had an exhibition hall and the main stage. There were some really good speakers. We met a lot of people. There was a lot of bonhomie, as always. Everybody was chatting up with everybody else, catching up. Somebody said, "Arey yaar, ye to job fair hi ho gaya hai," right? Everybody's trying to figure out where next. But I don't know, what did you think about the exhibition floor, Abash?
Quite, compared to last year, it felt a lot more there's so much, too many people there. It was just, for a second, I think all of us just looked at each other and like, this is like a fish market. It's
because there were people like crowded up at various corners.
But it's lively, it's like everyone's trying to be like, hey, you should talk to me, and everyone's like, and then you can see some people meeting after so long, and it's a very lively place. And in the middle of it, we found coffee.
Yeah. There was one
And you had
place.
some pro tips, right? When in this.
So this is for any sales people that are out there on these floors, because it's a very nerve-wracking place, right? You got to go up to everybody and talk. So one thing I have realized is that if you ever want to approach someone and you don't know whether you should or you shouldn't, you look at their tags, right? Everybody, no one looks in the eye in these exhibition halls or any of these events. You got to look at their badge that all of them are hanging about. The ones that turn it around and don't want anyone to know, hands down, go talk to them first.
They're the most important people. Pro tip.
Because I'm so hassled by so many people just looking at the badge and coming and talking. Oh, you're from Adstr? I want to talk to you. You're from this? I want to talk to you. So it's like random. I was having a conversation with one of our clients, and by middle, someone just came looking at, you can't hear, you can't see what I'm doing. What I'm trying to gesture is that they're just looking at the badge and walking. They're walking past, but they're looking behind. And then when they realize, they circle back around and they talk. So it's
validation from your association in itself. Yeah. So there was one coffee place that was bang in the center of the exhibition hall. So we were crowding around it, but this is Delhi also. So you had kullad chai as well as you had coffee and so on and so forth. But the stalls were larger than life this time around. They had the setup was amazing. Like the Snapchat stall was very, very pretty, and they had a lot of interaction on the stall. Samsung's was the largest. Yeah. There might have been about 25 to 30 exhibits, in my opinion, and mainly around I want to say DSPs, attribution, influencer, aggregation,
a lot to do with affiliates, if you know.
And affiliates, right? Yeah. Affiliates as well.
And was Geo there?
Oh yeah, Geo was there. Jio was there in full strength. They had a sizable contingent.
Yeah.
Lots of them walking the floors. What Jio has done has, they have built tech for the entire ad value chain.
Yeah.
And they are going hammer and tongs and trying to make people actually use it. And they're building a B2B business as well. I think this entire part of the business is led by Gulshan, right? And his team was around. So we met a whole bunch of people, product managers, sales guys, the works, right? And they were all over the place. But yeah, lots of interesting things happening at Jio as well, right? We have
there's a
It's
change
like you
in
name
leadership.
a problem,
Yeah.
yes, I have a solution.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like as a sales guy, it's a dream because
Yeah.
the conversation is never ending.
Correct.
Like, oh, this is my problem. Oh yeah, we have that also. Oh,
Yes, like a
oh,
Swiss
yeah,
Army
that
knife.
also. Yeah, it's like that.
So what is happening at Jio?
So Jio now has K2 helping their entire business. They have Kiran Money on one side and they have Kevin Vaz on the other. And Kevin Vaz has been quoted in one of the ET articles that says, we are a content company. And I was like, oh my God, thank God somebody is finally owning this and saying that we are a content company instead of saying that we are a technology company and trying to sort of figure this out. And more recently, in the more recent news, if you, Rita Ferro, who's the head of Disney's business as well, she's the president of global advertising. They are looking to unlock incremental value for advertisers by bringing in Trade Desk as well as Google into having direct integrations into them. And Google, of course, has come out with their own thing called Google Publisher Advertiser Identity Reconciliation. It's called Google PAIR. So
Had to be Google, no?
It has to be. Thankfully, it's not some bird acronym because
Yeah.
earlier it was Sparrow, Pigeon, something else, right?
Yeah.
When they were trying to do this whole
Yeah.
cookieless world. But see, essentially, what's happening if you take a step back and look at things in a more macro way, right? There's a lot of sharing and collaboration that's happening. Apple is taking on Gemini, Google's AI, Google and Trade Desk that are sworn enemies perpetually, and Trade Desk saying that they are an alternative to Google's mammoothness in the market, are both partnering up with one of the largest entertainment platforms that was trying to build everything out internally themselves, which is Disney.
Yeah.
And so everybody is trying to figure out what is their core business. And even if you look at the way, at home also what is happening over here between, say, Z and Sony and them breaking up, and Viacom 18 and Disney kind of merging together and things like that, there is, water is finding its own level. And the secret is in collaboration, even if it is with your competition, right? And trying to find a way to make sure that you are not, cutting off your nose to spite your face or whatever that thing is, right? Because if it's not in your wheelhouse, and if content is something that is what people actually are paying here to come here and are paying, top dollar for at that point in time, why are you sort of draining all your cash on trying to build tech that you can anyway get from the outside, right? Because that is something that's somebody else's business, but use it to your advantage because they cannot create content either.
Yeah.
But ultimately, I feel like collaboration and competition is something that is starting to sort of bleed into each other because everybody wants to make sure that the market doesn't die out on them. You don't want to have your competition also die out. You don't want, and there is an entire line of business that you have to continue with, right? And you're sometimes faced with hard choices. So they are making some hard calls that maybe a year or two ago would have been absolutely not. We are going to do this. We are going to sort of travel this distance by ourselves. But it's not surprising. It is good business. And especially what's happening within Jio right now with Kiran and Kevin. Good luck to them. Maybe we'll have them on the podcast sometime soon. Yeah.
Hopefully.
You also met someone at Freewheel.
Yes. So at Tech,
That was a very interesting.
Very interesting meeting as well. So Freewheel is launching in India, and they're launching on the back of their own CTV offerings. And they've got a company, a partner in tow, who's helping them launch in India called Seri1. And they had a large stall at Tech, and they had Alvin and Marcus who was there. Alvin is their sales head from Singapore, and Marcus is the head of their strategy in rest of the world other than the US. But Freewheel is a Comcast-owned company. They're looking at India as their next bastion. And like we were chatting about this a little earlier as well, the whole concept of using India as a geography to make sure that you're able to scale, test, experiment, look at it from various types of permutation and combination, enhance all your bid values if you may, right? In various types of experimentative, various types of scenarios that you get in this kind of scale at this cost, right? Is which is cheap, if anybody was sort of missing the point here, is something that every single global company will want to do.
Yeah.
It's not specifically for the kind of CPMs we'll be able to generate or the kind of revenue that we'll be able to generate, but the next billion online is going to come from here, right? The kind of scenarios that we're actually moving forward on will come from here. Massive Gen Z population as well. How do you tap into them? I was reading a statistic very recently. It said that Gen Z Americans, not Indians, but I'm just like now painting us into one big bucket. They spend an average of 7 hours a day on their smartphones, right? 7 hours a day.
Yeah, if you looked at even in the AdTech, most of the conversation panels that they had, all the marketers are now trying to see how do we cater to this Gen Z market, because we had strategies sorted for millennials, we had sorted for boomers, and all of them were good. But now this Gen Z, because now they are coming into that affordability, right? They have buying power now. They have good buying power. It's because the economy is booming and all of it.
Yeah.
But they have good buying power. So how do all of these publishers, how do marketers, all of them come together to address this? And you look at Snapchat has that good user base. You look at the booth itself. It was a very fun, lively sort of a thing, because Snapchat is fun with those filters, those dog stuff and all of it. So you can look at those booths and it attracts Gen Z crowds. I think a lot of them use Snapchat still.
Yeah.
So
with Snapchat, I mean, they are betting big on Gen Z. That is their one. I think Pulkit Trivedi's interview was that.
Yeah.
So they have come up with this campaign called Less Social Media, More Snapchat. What does it mean? Because advertisers are a little confused as to what it means for them.
Yeah. So see, at the end of the day, you look at it as, where is this audience actually, where's the audience at, right? Where's the party going on at? And this is where, from a Snapchat's perspective, they are trying to make sure that they're getting their first principles right. Why should you choose this platform? And they're taking a very hard stance and like a hard right away from what other social media platforms stand for. It's more about influencers. It's less about individuality. It's more about, it's more about getting on a trend versus actually making sure that you are the trend creator, right? It's more about like trying to figure out what the rest of the world is doing rather than actually genuinely having connections and having a lighter view of life, right? And that's pretty much what Snapchat has. Like, you're throwing up, you're vomiting a rainbow, you have like, dog ears, and it's a bit of fun and silliness associated to it, which I think a lot of us are missing. And even on a social media platform now, everything has become almost like, it's going to stay with you for a really long time. You can't be silly anymore. And it's so funny because the other day, I'm clearly still on Facebook, okay? I know that ages me a lot and dates me, but
I'm still on Facebook.
Yes, I'm still on Facebook. So on Facebook, it keeps, and I love the whole memory thing. It keeps giving you back these little memories. And also the stuff, the nonsense that you put up, right? Because at some point in Facebook also, when I started using it 15, 17 years ago, I would start thinking in status updates.
We were on Orkut, Kavita.
I was just going to bring it up. That is like...
Hey, I also used to use ICQ. Did you ever use ICQ? I mean,
what is ICQ?
ICQ.
Kanka, you dated yourself properly.
I don't even know what...
ICQ it was this open chat room that you could chat with anybody with, right?
Like an MSN.
Like even now, I think Omega, if I'm not wrong. Omega, sorry.
Omega.
I don't know.
Is there? I have no idea. So it was ICQ. I went from ICQ to Orkut to then Facebook, and in those days there was this open thing between Orkut and Facebook. You can migrate everything. I did not date myself. Anyway, so it was an open... It was bizarre at that time. You could just go to a cyber cafe and then randomly chat with people.
Yeah.
You know what I think about? In Orkut, you had to take care of a dog. Do you remember?
That is Tamagotchi, right?
No, there was... I just feel sad that all those dogs are dead. No one's fed them.
It's gone, man.
It's gone.
Could have buried it. Yeah. So anyway,
It's
so
learning.
like even the silly statuses that I used to put up on Facebook at the time was nothing compared to what people put up now, man. People are putting up some really curated stuff that talk about, why they're holidaying and they're like airbrush pictures of themselves or.
Yeah, but that market has become crazy, Like you look at the influencer market. Like we saw so many guys there at ad tech right there. There's so many stalls who are trying to do affiliate marketing, which is linked to influencer stuff, right? And then there were so many other influencer platforms. Like we saw Traffic here. One of our clients used them as a platform. Traffic here, right? Track here, sorry.
And Afiz.
It's not a day for me to pronounce it.
Yeah, I tell you. You should have done calisthenics before this.
And Rooter has actually tied up with influencer marketing.
Yeah.
That's an approach.
So we met Rooter as well when we were there. So we met all our customers, and Rooter is one of those customers that we're really, really rooting for.
Yes.
Yeah.
We root for you, Rooter.
Yeah. And so we met Ajith, who's now the head of their business, and they're really aggressively going to market. I think agencies and advertisers are finally understanding their value proposition.
Yeah.
They have a massive, audience in not just metros but in tier 2 cities as well. Gamers, people who have access to internet. The fact that they are able to, they are also like high buying power, and also in this Gen Z category, right? They're quite the flavor of the day. So their strategy from a revenue perspective is. Everything that you already know and then some, right? Because they have live streaming of games.
Yeah.
And live streaming of games today, is either on YouTube. There was Twitch at some point in time. But adoption of Rooter is pretty decent.
Yeah,
and I think it'll keep increasing as it goes on.
If you think of from an advertiser's perspective who has typical stuff to publisher advertising, this is something very different and very engaging.
Yeah.
Because people actually watch stream content. I was surprised that, hey, listen, I'm a gamer. I don't want to watch people game. But there is a significant portion of people who do that.
Yeah.
And to come up with advertising options there and the way Rooter has been growing.
It's fantastic.
Brands are looking, they're noticing now, and
Rooter is the Indian Twitch.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Absolutely. So coming back to less social media, more Snapchat, I think it's their bid in making sure that they are addressing first principles, right?
Yeah.
Get your audience, everything else will follow.
Yeah.
And the audience should choose you at the end of the day. And it is very clear that Gen Z is not really into this trying to cow themselves down to a trend.
Yeah.
Case in point, when Be Real was a big deal. It's still a big deal for a lot of people, but Be Real was a massive thing. It's this social media site that makes you take a picture of what is happening in real time, front and back camera. And it's about just being real. Cut the noise, cut the veneer. Just be real about what you're doing right now and be present, right? And it'll be random stuff. It'll suddenly come up and say, now click a picture. You could be traveling in an auto, or you could be having lunch with somebody else. I mean, it's kind of intrusive at some point in time, but I feel Snapchat is trying to go there at this point. And my daughter, who's 13, is on Snapchat, exclusively. I have some reservations about it, but I'm assuming that this is something that she'll make good choices about. But from a metrics perspective, at the end of the day, what is an advertiser looking for?
Yeah.
Right? They're looking for reach and frequency at a very, 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 very simplified, trivialized level. If you don't have that kind of reach, it doesn't matter what kind of ad units you have or what kind of integrations you have, it won't make any sense to them. Right?
I do wonder one thing though with Snapchat, right? India is a very, if you've noticed, the entire trend has been performance oriented. Everyone wants to do performance campaigns. There was a big shift from awareness to performance. And I think a lot of publishers got behind it as to how do now I meet an advertiser's demand of now getting performance and stuff like that. Whereas now I did see in ad tech a gradual shift that, hey, branding is also important. And it is also required. So I'm very curious as to see how Snapchat goes about stuff.
I mean, I'm sure that there will be Snapchat stores, and there will be it will move towards some kind of commerce on that platform. Either they'll integrate with, a fulfillment platform where you can actually go and actually buy stuff, and you only have brands who can advertise to people, like a regular vanilla advertising thing. Or they might try things that have worked in the past for, say, Instagram, right? Where they actually have people listing things up on the platform. But I think they're working one step at a time. They're saying, let's first get the party started and make sure everybody chooses this place. After that, we'll see what else to do, right?
Yeah.
Because then it's a no-brainer in trying to figure out why you should advertise over here. Then what next will be a factor of many things, including where the world is going at that point in time.
Talking about what's next, what's next is IPL is starting tomorrow. And just on the back of the heels of women, Royal Challengers Bangalore winning the women's
Finally, we won the cup,
Yeah.
We have a cup.
I think at this, like you were saying, we've already got
Some
the cup.
Yeah. So
Some-
if they
I'm
won it-
calling it the cup.
Dude, I think now RCB, the men's team, should have less pressure.
Yeah.
Like, boss, we
Yeah.
already won it.
Correct.
We
Take
have
it
less
easy,
pressure.
man.
We'll take it easy.
The women have got you this time
Yeah.
around. Don't worry. It's okay.
Are you team RCB?
Of course.
How can
What do
you ask
you
that
mean? Yeah,
question?
we're in Bangalore. There is no other team that we are going to be supporting. It's only RCB. I mean, there's a fair bit of jealousy. Maybe it's good to have it's good to keep people who are in competition in line. But fan base is us.
Yeah, right. So, what are your expectations, Abarsh, from this season? As a consumer first,
Yeah, man,
what do you think?
I don't know, like if you look at the Geo platform, the way they've streamed, they give you 8K content. And to be honest, I use all OTT platforms, and no one gives me 8K streaming.
Hey, I just want to ask this question on this
Right.
8K streaming bit.
Right.
Do I get charged more data?
Yeah,
Yeah, you
believe
get
so.
charged.
Yeah,
I get charged more.
Yeah. But
Yeah?
we're in such a cheap internet consumption. Like
So
it's
sad,
so
yeah,
cheap.
for Airtel.
I mean,
No, aren't they fighting against this only? Aren't they
Yeah,
fighting
they are,
against the
like,
fact
yeah.
that these people are like,
can,
we have some really cheap data
Yeah.
and people are using it like,
to be honest, I don't
Water?
mind paying the big bucks. Even if I had to pay
say it
extra,
loudly.
like,
You don't mind paying the?
paying a little more money for this.
I hope everybody's
for-
listening. What are you, Gen Z or millennial? What are you?
I'm a millennial, so I don't mind paying. It's just like, dude, I get to okay, I've invested in a good TV. So watching it
So-
and some platform to give it, let me
So you're saying for
watch
live
that and-
sports, you
Yeah.
are willing to pay additional money for better quality streaming.
For sure.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that is the majority sentiment also.
Yes. And I was just listening to a Nielsen-sponsored e-marketer podcast, which is all their podcasts, but they had,
Yeah.
but they had a Nielsen person on their podcast this time around, and they were debating on the concept of what is television to begin with.
I just
Yeah.
also listened to
You
that
listen to the
podcast.
same podcast?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and they were saying that, look, at the end of the day, if you're talking about appointment viewing, and appointment viewing is going to be television in the traditional sense, the only thing that I would actually really make sure that I'm viewing, at an appointed time is live.
Yeah.
That's true.
Right? And of course, everything about eMarketer and anything else other than, outside of our podcast is all about what's happening in the US, and it's all about Super Bowl. But I'm thinking in India with 100 days of cricket being streamed, it's a fantastic way for us to actually figure out how will TV planning be in the future, right?
Yeah.
Because Super Bowl is what, for 2 days, 3 days, 1 week, I don't know how many.
We have a
we have 100
festival
days. Yeah, we have a
That's so
100
Indian,
days.
right? We
Right.
are
Yeah.
we do everything in a big way, like the
Yes.
bunny wedding.
It was not the wedding.
It wasn't the wedding. It was the pre-wedding
Pre-wedding.
I
about.
was so shocked. I was like, bro, you can't flex like this. You can't flex like
And if
this.
you're the Ambanis, you're expected to flex. Okay, come
Oh,
on.
this was a mad flex. I'm proud of it. I'm
Yeah.
living in a country which is mad flex. But I was so shocked when I heard
Yeah.
that it's not the wedding. I was like, okay.
Yeah. So therefore, that is something that we expect from Jio now, right?
Yeah.
Now you have 100 days of cricket. You have Jio Mart. You have Jio Cinema. You have Hotstar now.
Yeah.
You have what else do you have? You have Viacom 18. You have Kick Paramount out. They have an ad server. They have a GSM ad server. They have an SSP. They have a DSP. They have a massive sales team. They have everything, right? And now they have access to all of this data. And they have a telco. And they have, they have fiber. So the question everybody always has, right? What is the single unit of measurement that you can have across television digital, right? You need to have a space where you can actually test it in a way that you're able to make sure that you're able to carry over the movement between digital as well as TV.
Correct.
If you're saying television is dying
Right.
in its traditional form, and or it's declining or not growing as fast as digital or whatever, it's not dying out where you'd have to disinvest in it. It's still a very formidable part of every broadcaster's revenue. But if you're saying you want to prepare for the future where media planning in itself has to change
Right.
and has to change to be able to fit this, and like you're a millennial and you have Gen Zers, right? And by the time streaming completely takes over as the de rigueur way for us to watch any kind of content, it will be a Gen Zer who's planning media, right?
Right.
So I feel like Jio is in this amazing sweet spot to be able to solve this problem.
Yeah.
Because they have all the various data signals, they have the entire platform available to them, and they have that no other country in the world has. No other country in the world has. Is 100 days of a live event that is religiously watched by, a nation of 1 billion people.
Yeah.
So there is, and 1 billion people who are not shy of adopting any kind of technology, as we have seen. So we can expect great things from.
But I'm very
Jio.
curious because now you're sitting on this huge data chunk, right?
Yeah.
Which is Jio through their OTT, through their telecom service, and so much. Like they have a DSP, which means their data of audience data is going to become even more on that front. But how do you get this data to be actual clean data, to be measurable data, right? Because otherwise you don't know what content to invest in, you don't know which of your audience is working, not working, but you need data to be measurable. And that's closer to home of what we also do for our customers, right?
Yeah.
We make data measurable so people can make actual sense of their data, because having data
Decisions
is not
from them,
enough.
yeah.
So I think the entire ball game is there. How do you get data? I mean, you have data, but how do you make that data measurable so you're able to take decisions off it? And it's actually a hard problem. Like you can throw AI or any of that conversation, any floaters on top of it, but having measurable data, that's what will get any company to become. I feel.
Not any company, man. It's Jio. That's it. All eyes on them. Now you've consolidated this market. Now, heavy. What uneasy lies ahead that wears the crown?
Yes.
Now we have all eyes are on.
All
you.
eyes
Come on, you've become like a media king. Now we expect big things, right? So, I mean.
You have people paying more for
Yeah, I'm willing to pay more.
Yeah.
I'm very surprised by this. I thought it would be chindi about all of this stuff. Saying that.
Dude, what is your perception of me? Kavita?
Saying, yeah, I'm getting 8K to free mein mil raha hai. I didn't know that you're actually paying a lot more.
No, because
you're willing
you
to
pay with your
some more.
broadband, right? So,
Yeah.
because I play
I'm saying,
FIFA.
if you're saying that if you have a television screen, it's streaming 4K, it's totally fine, right? And it says, press this button to upgrade to 8K, but pay like 2x of whatever you're paying. You pay.
Yes.
Oh. Not
Perception shift.
Yeah, I agree.
Yes.
I'm
See,
looking at you in completely
So
different
I'll tell you
light.
where I'm coming from. So I'm from I play FIFA on my PlayStation 5, and I need a good broadband connection because when you play online, you can't have lags. Otherwise, you're just going to break that controller for sure. So in this case, I'm paying out a little bucks to Sony because I want a good experience on that. So if I'm able to enjoy that, and I'm actually really enjoying it, and if it's a sporting game that I really want to watch, and this goes the same for football also, by the way, if I'm watching football or any of it. And if there is a platform that's giving me and letting me enjoy that experience of a Champions League quarterfinal, which is going to come up and stuff like that, I will pay money to watch it and have that experience because it's a once in a lifetime experience. I will not get that again when it's live sports.
So I think there's a new revenue stream out here. Upgrade to a different stream altogether. Forget subscription and advertising and all that. Just get better delivery.
Don't put it out there too much. I would rather pay later.
I want to tag.
I'm good with
let's
the
tag
100.
everybody, right? And just say only for this age group, not for us.
He's a millennial.
Yeah, actually, we're all in the same age group.
Yeah.
Damn it.
He knows Orkut, so he's just.
Yeah, that's true.
So we do this section where we say, what are you watching? So what are you watching? Or you have been to any events?
I'm watching a really fun show now. It's called Shogun. It's people are comparing this to Game of Thrones now. It's a Japanese show. It's on Hotstar for people who would want to watch it.
I also
So
watch some
very
of it
Game of
because even
Thrones.
my husband watches the same show.
Yeah. See, the premise is quite
It's Game of Thrones.
like a Englishman goes to a Japanese place, doesn't fit in, and then suddenly becomes a hero there. So the plot is a little bit up
Done
until
to
now.
death.
Done to death. But hey, it's really good acting. It's really good production, and it's I think quality of that content is really good. So I'm all about that. What about you? What do you?
I went and watched Shraddha Jain's first stand-up comedy in Bangalore.
Oh, nice.
Very nice. It was a very personal show, I thought. I'm sure that she's been around the scene, right? The circuit in terms of
I am a fan.
A big
of
fan.
Shraddha.
And, she does a lot of these corporate shows, a lot of stand-up in bars and pubs and stuff like that. Smaller stages. But this was in Ambedkar Bhavan in Bangalore, which I think seats easily about 1,200 people.
Oh,
I
damn
think.
nice.
And I don't know, it's huge, but it was packed. And there were 2 shows in Bangalore. First of all, thank God it was the center of Bangalore and not in Kolanakunte or wherever else it is, right? Where a lot of things are seemingly happening, but like getting there is just like a nightmare unless you live somewhere around there.
Yeah.
I think same goes for people who live in JP Nagar area and trying to come to town. But it was really nice, very personal. It was, she mixed it up a lot. And before she came on stage, etc., and actually unveiled the show, before that, she had gotten an award from the Prime Minister.
Nice.
Yeah.
A lot of influencers and a lot of people who have a platform now are being felicitated, right? And there's a lot of like questioning on, what's happening and so on and so forth. Why are they politicizing a whole bunch of this stuff? And I like the way she kind of took it on, like front-footed the whole thing. And she had a video of her getting the award, and she had also posted saying that, I will not take it lightly that I actually have a platform and a voice, right? That is there for the people. And all she spoke about was not the fact that which Prime Minister gave her the award. It was the fact that India's Prime Minister gave her the award. Nice. And then she's like, my mum, that's her mum, said like every time she watched a cricket match, it was not about the technicalities. It was only about, is India winning, right? And or is India losing? And so in this space as well, she was like, I'd like to think of it as, is India winning? Are we as a country winning? And with all the things that is happening in the world right now, which is happening all over the world. I mean, even we are going to go into election season, etc. I think one of the big things that we have to take away is India winning. And and I'm not condoning any particular thing. I'm just saying that from our seat, we should be able to figure out what is our role in that. Fair. And I think the mark of a good country is when all the citizens actually participate instead of asking for stuff. We're actually doing things, right? But yeah. Clearly, our trip to the capital has really rubbed off on me. Yeah. Looking at this Yashobhumi and this G20 site, and because Bangalore at the end of the day is a very, very small city. I mean, we're ahead in terms of tech, and we have all of these people who we meet, who we rub shoulders with, etc. But then actually seeing grandeur in that sense, right? It really gives you a different sense of pride for your country, and it was very unexpected also in a stand-up comedy show. For somebody to actually speak their mind the way they did. Yes. Although comedy is as raw to the truth as you can get.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So she really took it head on, and I liked it. I thought it was a very personal show, and I more power to her, more power to WPL, right? And more power to all us women. Because
Yes.
I think we are
Yes.
like the...
Woohoo!
Yeah, Abash?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Dude, you guys got us the IPL club
cup. Yes.
So, fuck, not my day, dude.
Let's
it's
just
okay.
say
It
the
doesn't
cup,
matter.
not a cup. The cup.
The cup.
The
Yeah,
cup.
the
We
cup.
got it.
Exactly.
That's it. That's
Anyway.
it.
Alrighty. So yeah, that brings us to the end.
On that note, yes, it was actually a very interesting conversation. Yeah. So, thank you, Kavita, Abash, Santosh, Gautam, and we'll see you soon.
Yeah, thank you, Leena. Thank you,
Thanks,
Abash.
guys.
Thank you, Gautam. Thank you, Santosh. And thank you for listening, everybody. We'll be back more regularly to record. If you want to join us, if you want to comment, reach out to us, want to be on this podcast,
Yes,
please write to
please.
us. And I hope you enjoyed the show. Bye.